your business, or should I call your successful model?
So I come from a finance background. First of all, I think that context has to be set. I have an MBA in finance, worked in Fortune 500 companies in the US, and 10 plus years back came back to join the family business, which is primarily manufacturing. So we manufacture specialty chemicals, camphor and fragrance ingredients, as well as pharma and APIs and intermediates. So it certainly was a change from a Fortune 500 to a mid-sized family business where, you know, shop floor acceptance took a while, and I anticipated that. So I think the model to success, and I tell younger women this, people, you know, ladies who are starting out, women who are starting out, stick around, you know, be there. People get used to you, and eventually, you know, you get what you want. So I think to get intimidated or kind of face that resistance, and almost all of us have, I think, in industries which are primarily male-dominated, and I'll say that most industries are male-dominated. Yes. I think other than a few sectors like education and so on, you being there, you providing solutions, they knowing that you are there for them makes a big difference in leadership roles. So that's the number one formula as far as success is concerned. The other thing is, you're bringing, in my case, from a finance background, I brought my own set of analytical skills, my own abilities, which I had developed well before I joined the family business. So I think that gave me a very strong backbone in terms of pushing to find better solutions and having those conversations with customers that would, you know, help find innovation in our field. So that's the secret to success as far as I am concerned.
All right, and the big message is be there, be consistent, don't get intimidated. Priyanka, coming to you now, you know, it has been a busy month for T-Hub, the signing of MOU with Assam's Numaligarh Refinery, collaboration with Collins Aerospace, and finally winning the National Technology Award for Best Technology Business Incubator. So tell us more, yes. So tell us more about T-Hub, how it is fostering innovation and empowering tech startups and its overall framework.
Super. So firstly, welcome to T-Hub. T-Hub is the world's largest innovation hub as on date. So we are spread across 580,000 square feet of land. And at this point of time, we have 320 startups incubated in this space. And we have graduated around 3,000 startups in last 8 years. This is our 8th year in the ecosystem. And we've been instrumental in defining our own framework. Like a startup, we evolved over the last 7 years, right? So we designed and gave to a framework which is called 6M 2P framework that we offer to any entrepreneur, innovator that's looking to, you know, expand, grow. The 6 M's would be one, access to money, which is funding, right? So we have a dedicated team who works with startups, preps them. They also manage investor desk where they talk to angel investors, VCs, to provide various funding venues for our startups. Then the second M that we provide, which is most crucial for many startups, is market access. So we work with 600 odd corporates and we have 90 plus innovation partners across the globe. And we provide market access opportunities for the startups in other geographies, in India, other state governments as well. Then the third M that we focus most is on mentorship, where we have 150 plus mentors. These are high-end individuals, I would call them. They are the experts that come from 20, 30 years of experience from a particular sector with a specialization that offer expertise to these startups to upgrade themselves, to provide quick tips on how to grow their journey. Okay. And the fourth M that we focus is manpower. And the fifth is motivation. And the sixth one is methodologies. All these 6 M's are driven by 2 P's, which is partnerships and policy advisory. This is a simple framework that we use to accelerate entrepreneur success.
All right. So thank you for taking us how, T-Hub is empowering startups here in Hyderabad. Moving to, Kalpana, you're one of the very few women in Hyderabad or in India that's taken up rainwater harvesting. Tell me, what kind of measures are you taking at your own company to empower more women to join the bandwagon or perhaps take similar issues?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak here. As a woman, yes, rainwater harvesting actually is not just rainwater harvesting today. The way we have driven the company and the strategy that we have followed itself is an inspiration for millions of women to follow, because we are connected to availability of water right from the households, to culture, to religion, to sanitation. We are connected in, a series of things. So women are so connected to, water and its conservation. Only the awareness part is missing. And what is the way forward? Because it's a huge behavior change issue. So while we run our startup, we have to also tackle behavior change and bring that change in the society. So today we have right from funders who are women who have supported in a big way, artists and artisans who are part of culture and that, and our own fraternity of architects and urban planners. We work today with very, very young women who are conservation architects across the country. It's an inspiration for them to come and work with us.
Absolutely.
Because it's just not rainwater harvesting. We're doing rainwater harvesting is hidden in the entire ecosystem, like, well restorations, heritage well restorations. We're talking about lakes. We're talking about a block where we make that block water rich. So we teach people that rainwater harvesting is just not... just like what we hear, it sounds very simple, but it's a whole arena of things, and so many women today involved in this, right from our crane operators for our well restorations. They are women, and I feel so happy when I go and, look at this, and it just, they use simple common sense skill to run that crane, and it just feels so amazing.
Absolutely. Lithika, quickly let me come to you now. At the young age of 22, you decided to enter the organic food business. What was that big idea that excited you towards this vertical? And talk to us about the support mechanism that you got at this young age to kind of do your own thing and start up.
I think I wasn't thinking mostly, but I just...
that worked well.
That worked very well for me. But that is also a skill that I have kind of developed with time, is to not think too much of the outcome and to actually go in and dwell and look at the problem and solve it, which is most part of what business is about. And I was 22, but mostly the passion came from my mother, who was a farmer. And we both started the company together. And today it's a very surreal experience for me, because at 24, I was featured on Young Turks with Shireen. And 10 years later, I'm here. So I feel that I also can see my journey as who I was then and to who I am now. We've had a lot of support, but mostly I think it's about keeping focus and understanding that you're here to solve a problem and to focus on that always.
Okay. Mansi, let me now come to you. DoctorC is a new age diagnostics player, is a tech-first healthcare provider. You're delivering customer-centric healthcare online and at home. So if you could take us through some of your offerings and the business model that you've devised.
Sure. So we started in 2014 in the diagnostic space, but today we're building what we call the Internet Hospital. Our mission is to make healthcare accessible and affordable for the majority of India. So low cost and easily available healthcare. We're working on helping people screen at large numbers at home, and then working towards helping them find treatment as well. So we service about 45,000 patients every month and help them through most of the conditions that they find through that.
And what kind of partnerships have you, brought in so far?
We largely work with the ecosystem that exists in the geographies that we are. We work with healthcare providers that are in the top 5 or 10 rated in that city. Okay. And we partner with them, leverage their advantage, their brand name, and their expertise in the healthcare space, and bring that to consumers.
All right. Shilpa, coming back to you in a career span of 20 years, and like you mentioned earlier, you've had extensive experience working with Fortune 500 companies in the US. Tell me, what's the scenario of female representation in leadership roles globally?
So I don't think we can be very homogeneous in terms of what international leadership for women constitutes. I can talk about my own experience. The company that I worked for certainly had a very strong female leadership nurturing program. And it started all the way from an analyst level as you entered into the finance roles to going up to middle management and then senior management. So that ladder was very well built in terms of how much focus the institution put on it. It's always about your personal story. I think we talk about role models, but for me, when I was entering as an analyst role after my MBA, I looked at my boss. She had a young child. She was a manager. She was running a team of, 15 people. I just watched her for examples on what to do and how to manage my personal life. She didn't have to give speeches or talk about, leadership. I just watched her, and a lot of learning came from that. And of course, she's now a rock star CFO in Silicon Valley. I watched women who were in, financial controller roles, senior roles. And I just watched what they did. How did they interact? She had 3 kids and a husband. What did she do? How did she manage? Same thing, VP of marketing, who would say, I'm not a techie, I ask stupid questions. And sometimes it turns out nobody else knows the answer. So, you see that entire rung up the hierarchy, and then you understand that it's not that one woman CEO who sets an example. It's the woman who's ahead of you who sets an example on what you should do. So I think that, to me, was very, very meaningful. It set the path in how I deal with younger women who are entering the workforce now. And it's very important. In India, I think we have the problem of the broken rung or the leaky pipeline or whatever you call it, where women don't see role models or sufficient number of role models, and that presents a problem in terms of how do I manage my life? I mean, I have 2 children and all these responsibilities.
Yes.
That's very important.
And then women leave. So we don't see much more in the leadership roles.
Because then you feel that sort of unrealistic responsibilities are asked out of you, both at a work front or a household front. And you're not able to manage, you get stressed out and you leave. That's what happens in a lot of cases. So we want to say, this is how I manage my life. Okay, I'm not a superwoman. I failed enough, and this is how I do it.
Lack of role models, have you all felt that too? Yeah. All right, so, let me now move to a topic that was discussed earlier in the panels as well, which is lack of funding for women entrepreneurs. And Deepthi, let me come to you. You started Pulp Cosmetics with your kind of initial investments. Tell me, what is the major transformation that needs to be done?
So I think with startups especially, right? So I think initially when we start, we think that it's okay to bootstrap. It's okay to probably even wait until much later to get funding. But that's a mistake that every startup does. And I was lucky enough to have mentors early through my journey, and I found investors. And it's important to find investors at the right time, because you don't want to burn out, you don't want to, and it also helps with scaling, right? So you need the cash flow to scale the company, and if you don't have that, you can't progress. So I think it's very important to get the right investors at a right time, and also not dilute too much of your company in the first round. Make sure that you're smart, and we were kind enough by Antil Ventures to fund us. So
but did you face difficulty in getting the right investors?
Yes, initially, yes. People don't understand, investors, especially in India, don't understand beauty industry. They think that it's a retail brand. So as soon as we launch, we make money in the next 3 years. But no, there's a lot of R&D that goes behind it. And it's not as easy to, make money like other companies do. So it was very tough to convince the investors, but I think I did okay with that. Yeah.
Surely. All right, Priyanka, let me come to you. You know, as a startup ecosystem enabler, do you think running more mentorship programs can help solve the women entrepreneurs' problem of lack of funding and help them perform better?
Sure. I think the mentorship comes more handy when you are in early stages, right? So you need a lot of information. You look for a lot of support in terms of understanding much deeper engagement into the market segments, how your product can scale in other geographies, scale in your own native market, right? That's where the mentoring piece play a very critical role in your early stages. Once you move past in your growth stage, you look more at advisory support in terms of opening up market access connects, opening up, pitching opportunities in front of investor. That's the kind of mentorship that you look at. So absolutely designed, structured, well outcome-based mentorship is what any startup would look for. And I think once we have that 100% mentor-mentee match, I think that's the critical part where it is very important for any founder to have that sort of mentorship.
All right, my next question is for all of you and whoever wants to answer this. You know, you're all experienced entrepreneurs. Are you seeing a kind of shift in the thought process of investors? Are they more willing to now invest in women-led businesses? Yes, go ahead.
I actually have a counter example for
Sure.
biases with investors.
Would
So
love to hear that, yeah.
I think early on, maybe in the first couple of years of our journey, we're 9 years into it now, I did face a little bit of bias being a woman founder. I have 2 male co-founders, one of which is my husband. But I think as the company started scaling really well and growing really well, I have almost faced no bias in the last 7 years. And that's actually, I think, shows the growth in the investment community today where people are accepting and understanding that women can do it all.
Shilpa, what do you agree with her?
My view is the statistic. Only 1.5% of VC funding in India goes to women. So 98.5 goes to men. Clearly.
Long way to go.
So there's a long way to go. And these conversations help a lot. I'll also point out that in the US, for example, only 1.9% of VC funding goes to women. So we are there for, that's not a good comparison, but it's equally bad across the world. And across the world, we have a lot to go, long way to go, including India, of course. So that's my take on it.
All right, Lithika, you know, you've employed nearly 90% women workforce in your company, and that's quite a number. So tell us about, you know, what will it take really for more organizations to kind of ensure equal participation of both men and women?
I think it's important to understand the sector that I am in, which is the agri sector. So we employ a lot of labor. And we see that, you know, as Mr. Rosha also pointed out, that in a certain strata of the workforce, there is a lot of women participation. But as we go up, there isn't much participation in the leadership roles. And that's where I think that there has to be more reform and like people coming in and actually encouraging women. Though we are 100% women-owned business, we do not have one single male director on our board. It is...
That deserves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we are. We constantly look for people because I don't want to feel like the odd one out in my office. So we constantly look for people to come join us. Also at the factory, we empower the local women to come and work. So in my factory now, we are 11 years old. We've had people who've been there since day one. So during COVID, especially, I did not shut down my unit even for a single day because people turned up. They turned up to work every single day. We ran our factory even with 2 people or 3 people, and these were all women. So I think it's about nurturing that relationship, training them, getting them on board, and giving like a safe space for them to come in. That's been very successful for us to encourage them to come to work.
You know, Kalpana, talk to us about, you know, similar to hers, you know, how you're empowering communities and women to participate in the kind of projects that you're doing.
Starting with my own sustainable home. So 100 women in our community know what is a sustainable home today. And we don't talk sustainability in theory. we talk sustainability in action. So straight away, that's that's how we talk. And a number of talks, awareness sessions, a lot of TED Talks, and so many talks in the media about what is, harvesting rainwater, how logical it is and how circular it is. And today we've created a microeconomy by developing, restoring a step well. We've actually created a microeconomy for 100 women who live around the step well. They have come up with interesting ideas to market their own products, food, and they make money out of it. So I think we've gone in several tangents, and I'm super proud of what I do today. I mean, it's rainwater harvesting is no more broadcasting information, but it is creating an action on ground. So an action-driven awareness, and also talking about a street that you can pick. I have 2 women in a slum area who have picked up a couple of streets, and they make sure that the garbage doesn't end up in the lake, because they understand hygiene, they understand taking care of their children and not go through dengues. These things, so empowering women in different strata, in different many ways. I mean, it's been an amazing.
Amazing job, truly. Mansi, tell us what kind of gender parity have you maintained at DoctorC?
So our team at DoctorC is squarely 50-50 men and women. This is everyone from entry level all the way to management. And actually, a lot of our managers are homegrown from the lower levels. So we're very proud of that. This was a deliberate effort on my part because I wanted the company to represent India and society basically, in terms of diversity in religion, race, gender, different parts of India, that sort of thing.
All right, Priyanka, while the numbers of women-led startups have improved significantly, but the growth is not that impressive when it comes to, the female entrepreneurship index. So how do you think India can bridge that gap?
So one, I think to start off, we don't have a common platform where we have benchmarked the legends or the leaders who are experiencing the same challenges across the globe, right? As she rightly mentioned, India is having one of the largest, but it's just 20% of what we are. So I think blended financial mechanisms is one such way to promote women entrepreneurship. And we have, I think Telangana has the first Chief Innovation Officer. Grassroots innovation. We need to bring in leaders at that level who can actually stand as examples, driving innovation, setting up examples for other people so that they can relate to it and, go forward with it.
Sure. I need to mention this, and Kalpana, you're known as the water warrior, and recently you were honored with the prestigious Sujal Shakti Samman 2023. Tell me how essential it is for women entrepreneurs to kind of be recognized, and do awards truly, benefit an entrepreneur's journey?
Absolutely does, because it's an inspiration for 100 more women to see that, this journey is successful and you are recognized by the nation. I mean, at a national platform, at the Jal Ministry, for what you do, you've been recognized. So that's a huge inspiration for a lot more women to step into this entrepreneurship, which is actually rainwater harvesting is a multi-crore business. If you actually strategize it and put it on the table and work around it, and it is creating sustainability, circularity, and not depending on water from rivers, and you are becoming sustainable as a city. So I think women, a lot more women can come into this arena, seeing this success story from where to where. I started as an architect and designer with my own sustainable home, and where I've reached today. So it's an inspiration for many people that you've seen that, on these platforms, you've been honored and recognized. I think it's maybe a role model for a few, because I didn't have a role model to follow, because I honestly wanted to do something about it. And I thought my 8 years of journey as just driving awareness as an NGO didn't take me anywhere. The last 2 years of creating an enterprise for rainwater harvesting and creating my own DPRs and seeing how to implement smartly, He's really got a few crores in the last 2 years is something I'm so proud of. Yeah,
absolutely. And on that
I'm creating impact in a very, very big way.
And on that impactful note, it's time for me to wrap up this conversation. Thank you so much, ladies. A huge round of applause for the Wonder Woman of Telangana. Thank you for sharing your stories of hardships and success. Many thanks for joining us this evening. Thank you. You can leave the microphones here. Thank you so much. Moving on. The emergence of female leaders is already creating a positive impact on global sustainability initiatives, and it is crucial for more women to have a more prominent involvement in sustainability efforts. For this to happen, a supportive environment and policy framework will go a long way in helping women contribute to achieving the Sustainability Development Goals 2030. Let's take a look.
Clamor for sustainability and green transition has just picked up in the last couple of years, right? So while we are almost understanding this field, what do you think is required as far as females' representation here is concerned, and where are we when it comes to corporate India?
So, see, I'll probably echo what Ms. Kalpana just said, that there could not be a number, but the only fact I'd like to, add to it is that climate change impact is going to be felt most by the most vulnerable and the weaker section of the society, whether it is, temperature rise, flood, access to water, health and safety, or even food security, right? So the problems associated with it, which is like livelihood, the increasing cost, or even access to places for adaptation kind of a thing, which are like basic necessities, is going to be felt by the society. And women, I think, being again in this society itself, being more on